Can you feel the power? Can you feel the power? Feel the power of double XI.
Positive Power 21.org Internet Radio.
You are listening to Jerry Royce Live-Worldwide podcast.
Hey, my name is Davis and I'm from Haiti, but I'm living in Dominican Republic. I'm here, Positive Power 21, Jerry Royce Live-Worldwide.
That's right. You tell them to a buddy. What's up, family? What's up? You listening to Late Night with Jerry Royce Live-Worldwide, a.k.a. the Batman of Charm City, and the beautiful Kelly Holland. The beautiful Kelly Holland is not here today, so Batman got to ride solo. But we got a wonderful guest. We got a wonderful guest on the show tonight. You're going to learn a lot. So, you know how they say, back in the old days, pull out your pen and paper pad. We're going to take some notes. Classes in session. But for those of you that are so digital savvy, you're probably going to record it, which you're probably just going to download the show and listen to it later. Or you're going to just type it up on your phone and go back and look at it later. Nothing wrong with that. But look, we appreciate you guys for tuning in. I am Jerry Royce Live, and this is Positive Power Double XI Christian Media. And you got me tonight, the engineer. That's right. And we want to say hello to Kelly. We hope Kelly had a great time. She actually had traveled over to Jamaica, but she's home resting now and chilling out. So we're glad she had a chance to get away. So she's safe here in Charm City, y'all. So no worries. And don't forget, you can catch the Kelly Holland TV show airing on Comcast Xfinity in Atlanta, Georgia. That's right, right down to Cobb 25. You can catch our show every Thursday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And, of course, it runs on the same time zone in Atlanta with the beautiful Paula G. That's right, my January Paula G, which also airs at 11:30 a.m. on WATC 57.2. But you also can catch Paula G at 11 o'clock a.m. on the Cobb 25. And also the awesome Shay Samuels. Now, I hope you guys got a chance to catch those programs. And we're going to be good, y'all. We're gonna start airing some of those shows in DeKalb County. We're going to start putting them up on YouTube so you guys can go back and look at the shows. Because people always say, "Oh, Jerry, I work during the day. I can't catch the live programming." I understand. And they don't have what they call replays on DeKalb 25 like they do up in New York. So and we appreciate you guys because you can catch some of the oldest shows. Paula G, you can catch it in Chicago. I think on Channel 17 up there in Northern Chicago, and you can catch her in the Bronx on Thursday night at 8:30. You can catch the shows, and they tend to run a little behind the cap. In the WATC have the most current shows that we have taped, and we want to send out a prayer and shout outs to all our past. I just talked to one of my neighbors, Bishop Sean. He was telling me how they had to bury a young person today, just 32 years old. I know a lot of pastors are going through this. I also talked to Pastor Nathan, too, Bartell, one of our sponsors. And he told us, too, he had just came back from a funeral after I had spoken to him yesterday. So it's almost every time I talk to one of my pastor friends, they are coming or going to a funeral. Man, these are trying times. But the funny thing, and this is just real quick, when you back in the day, you used to go to church. They always say we living in the times now, and we're going to start seeing, floods and talks of war, rumors of war, and all these leaders trying to rise up, and wickedness and all this stuff. People doing crazy stuff. And of course, we've been seeing that stuff for a really long time, especially in the 70s. And of course, now it's right in your face because we have access to information so quickly. I mean, if you have one of those apps where you get the news, the local news and worldwide news on your phone notification, man, you think we at war now, which we are. And like my man Skeet said, we are in a biological warfare because we don't know where the stuff is. The doctors are still scratching their heads. They don't understand what the heck going on with COVID. It's taking on so many different levels. It's up to the variant Mu now. And so it's even more contagious. But yet, people are packing in the stadiums. They're going to school. People carrying on life as usual. And I think it goes back to what they used to say back in the day too. Only the strong will survive. Literally, if you got a good, strong immune system, you probably can just handle COVID like it's just a bad cold. But for those of us who got compromising immune systems, your diabetics and people dealing with MS and all kinds of issues, you got to be careful. Man, you got to keep your guards up. You need a real mask. Don't be out there thinking that little cloth mask is going to be stopping stuff. If you're around an affected person for more than 15 minutes, it's not going to work. You need the real stuff. So anything, with that said, we're going to move on to our programming. We're excited to talk to this young lady. We have a lot of people that listen to this program and that are entrepreneurs. They're doing their own thing, along with their 9 to 5. Because sometimes you deal with your 9 to 5. It's just not enough sometimes. If you weren't one of those people that was fortunate enough to go into your major, you majored in something, whether it was in high school or college, and you were able to get a job in that field. It's kind of hard, unless you went into communications and, you're doing like what I'm doing, radio and TV. It's kind of tough. For those of you that just went to school for general studies, you just took the first train that was moving. Whether it was BG, whether it was a utility company or it was or Walmart, whatever. So this lady is here to talk to you about how to promote yourself. Whether it's a book, music, it's all the same. It's all about branding. And a lot of us don't put no money into our promotion. We just think that Facebook is all and in all. And you guys notice that your views have down to 27, maybe less than that, maybe 15, even with 5,000 followers. Unless you're putting some money into it, you won't see what you used to see. I remember we used to go live. We used to see like 800 views just like that. We put $30 on, man, that thing would be up in the thousands. But those days are over, y'all. You got to put up some money to play the game. So we're going to talk to this young lady, Miss LaShaunda. I hope I'm saying her name right because I had it up for a minute there and then I moved it. But we're going to have her talk to us about exactly what do you need to do. And this is LaShaunda Hoffman. I hope I'm saying her name correct. I think I did talk to her one time on the phone because I thought Kelly was going to talk to her. What's up? What's going on, Miss Hoffman? Welcome to Late Night with Jerry's Live and Positive Power. How you doing tonight?
Good evening. Good evening. Thank you so much for having me, Jerry.
You're welcome. I hope you hear me pretty good. Everything, loud and clear?
Yes.
All
I'm
right.
just praying that my dog doesn't lose her mind and start barking like she just did 2 minutes ago. So.
Yeah. And so speaking of dogs, I had to take mine out for a walk and give her little doggy snack, but she's not in bed yet, so you may hear her because she's upstairs roaming around with my wife right
Mine
now.
is quiet. She's hearing imaginary noises outside, so she got to go make her barking noises like she don't do something.
Yeah, that's how they roll. I remember that a couple of weeks ago before my dog really got sick, she was hearing this fox roaming around. I don't know what the fox was doing, but my wife heard him too. I didn't hear him. And my dog got me up like 2 a.m. I'm out there at 2 a.m. while she's out there hunting, trying to hunt down a fox. It was like, you little dog, you can't do nothing. But she thought she was protecting her people. So I let her out there.
They doing their job.
I know. So
That's why I'm wondering why she's barking.
I know. You never know. It could be something. Could be something out there. But I let her entertain me with those thoughts. I don't know why, but that's how we do our children. We let them entertain us. Well, anyway, Ms. Hoffman, tell everybody who you are and what do you do. That's how Kelly put it. What do you do? Tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you?
Well, I am classified as a book promoter. I help authors promote themselves online. I've been doing it 20 plus years. I started with an online magazine, Shades of Romance. It was an online magazine from 2000 to 2020. I shut it down in 2020 to focus on my writing. But I interviewed tons and tons of authors and helped promote their books. And in the course of that, I decided to write a book in 2015 called Building Online Relationships, One Reader at a Time.
Wow.
And it was about my experiences of trying to promote that magazine and all the different things that I did. So it's like 25 different things that you can do to promote yourself. And a lot of people, bought the book and have been using it to become social butterflies, as I call them. Once you buy the book, you become a social butterfly. And it has been helping a lot of people over the last 6 years. Yeah. I also am a book promotion coach. I help authors create plans to launch their books. I am a mother of 3. I just became a grandmother in July.
Congratulations.
It's fantastic. I'm happily married, 25 years this year.
All right.
And I am an aspiring fiction writer, too. So I'm working on that right now, working on my first book. And that's a little bit about me.
Yeah. That's a lot. That's a lot. Because, I mean, that's great talking points. And because that's why people are tuning in. One thing I have to say, you know, there's way more entrepreneurs out there in the market that don't have a clue what they're doing. And, you know, we just winging it. You know, we feel like it's our purpose and it makes us happy. And a lot of us started out doing these things like I'm doing now. This started out as a hobby. I just said, I'm going to build me a podcast, just like that guy did on YouTube. And then next thing you know, here we are today. But fortunately for me, I was able to invest in myself and go to college and understand marketing communication. So I'll be able to understand how to sell myself and sell what I do. And so people can understand what it is. I remember a long time ago, a very popular, legendary author. I mean, not just an author, but he's a publisher. Owns a company called Black Classic Press here in Baltimore. And he said that a book cannot sell itself. So if you put it up on the shelf, you're not going to be there to help it out. It's on its own. So you have to do what you can so that book can speak for you and speak for itself. So what do you say? What do you say to someone, you know, if they came to you and said, hey, you know, help me sell this book? You know, how would you help them? You know, break it down for us. You know, I guess the 15 laws of growth, I guess they call it.
Good question. I agree with them. I tell my clients all the time, and other people too, promotion begins with you. A lot, like you said, you put it on the shelf, but I apologize. My dog just lost her mind.
You sound like a big dog. That's a big dog right there. Yeah.
She's going to town. I'm so sorry. I should have put her up. I didn't think she was going to clown some more. But it's hard to sell a book or sell a product if don't nobody know about it.
Right.
You know, you're so excited about it, but if you're not telling people about it, they're not going to buy it. They're not going to know that they need it in their life. And so I tell business owners, writers, anybody who's trying to sell something, that you got to start building relationships. You got to get out there and let people know about your product. You know, one of my assignments for my clients is I tell them to look at their email list. When you get emails, how many emails does that company send to you? One of my favorites is Domino's. Domino's sends you an email twice a day. They give you for lunch. They give you for dinner.
That's right.
They like, look, one of these is going to get you.
That's right.
So,
you'll bite.
That's how you have to look at your product. How you going to get them? How you going to get them to hit that buy button? And you can't get them to hit the buy button if they don't know about it.
That's
just
right.
because you put it on Amazon doesn't mean they're going to buy it.
That's right. That's just a place.
Just because you got to stop on the corner doesn't mean they're going to come inside. How
That's
do they
right.
know about it? What are you doing? Are you outside saying, hey, good morning? Have you had a bagel today? You know, something to get them to come inside. And it's the same way with selling your book. You got to let somebody know about it. You know, you get on Facebook and you just on Facebook. You never talk about your book. You never say anything. Guess what? Those people don't know you have a book.
That's right.
Oh, you got a book? One of my things when I know I'm not on top of my game is when somebody says, oh, you got a book? Because my book's been out for 6 years. So I'm like, what? You didn't hear about the book? I'm not doing my job right. So are you doing your job right? Who knows about you and your product, your business, anything that you got out there that you're trying to get somebody to hit a buy button for?
That's right. That's right. And I'm gonna tell you, and I remember my instructor had mentioned this during a marketing seminar he gave us one time, and people didn't really, you know, they didn't realize how true that was. And what happened was, and I just saw this happen recently. He said a lot of small businesses do not put any money into their promotions, you know, their advertising. They want someone else to do it for them. And he said it's been going on for so many years that it kind of found its way into our mom and pop businesses. And that's because when businesses are set up like in a mall or a strip mall or even downtown, they always try to find themselves as close as possible to a box store, big box store, because they, just mentioning Macy's and your Walmart, you see those advertisements all the time come in your mailbox, they're on TV. They do all the advertising for the mom and pop businesses. So just think about it. If you're a mom and pop business right now, you're not next to a Walmart or a Macy's or a Target, then you're not advertising. You have no advertisement going out there because that's what they do. They put a lot of money into it, and then they get the foot traffic, and the foot traffic walks right past your store, and one day those people are going to stop in to see what you're selling. Or if you're a cleaners or you're a shoe store or whatever, they're going to check you out. All you got to do is probably put a flyer or a poster up in the window just to let them know you're open. So how you feel about that after listening to that story, that little pitch? You find that to be true?
Well, foot traffic was how back in the day, you got your customers in with the foot traffic, but right now, we don't have foot traffic. Everybody is at home. Most of them are shopping online, and in 2020, it showed who was ready and who wasn't ready. And so if you didn't have any online presence in 2020, you weren't ready.
That's right.
You weren't. I saw a lot of my favorite restaurants going out of business because my favorite thing that I teach my client is to start an email list.
Yeah.
So if they had an email list, they could have sent emails to all their clients and told them, hey, I know you can't come out, but we can come to you.
That's right.
We can make some sandwiches. We can do. I saw one company change their whole menu of Red Lobster, change their whole menu to delivery style.
That's
family.
right. For the family. That's right. We were part of that.
For the family. They
That's
changed
right.
their menu up and they, offering different things for the family.
The bundle.
And you can just drop by and come and get it.
That's
I remember
right.
I saw something for Mother's Day. They did a big thing for Mother's Day, and now people were flying out of there trying to get them. And they didn't have enough people working up in there to handle the
Sure
crowd
didn't.
that came for Mother's Day.
Yep.
Because mothers were used to going out for lunch, for lunch, and they were like, well, we can't have you inside the building, but you can come pick your mother a lunch up. And
That's right.
it went crazy. But if you didn't have an online presence, you were suffering, and you were suffering hard because, one, you probably lost most of your people that were working for you, and then you lost all your clients. And so you're like, well, how am I bringing in stuff? So now you got to shuffle to figure out how to get these people back in, tell them about that you still are open, you got services and stuff when you don't have any way to contact them.
That's right.
And so I always tell even.
Now I was gonna say I saw a couple businesses that did switch it up like that. I know like the Olive Garden and Bonefish, all of them went to the family bundle meals where you can just get the bundle and everybody pretty much got to eat the same thing though. but it can last you dinner and lunch. It feeds a family of 4, a family of 5. And I know they just went up on the prices, a couple of them too, because they throw a little dessert in there, and I guess they try to make it special. But I noticed too some of the smaller, soul food restaurants that were so used to people just jumping off their car. When we couldn't have so many people in the building, people didn't really have the patience to sit out, standing in a long line outside, depending on what the weather's like, to do that. And I'm tripping because I didn't see those soul food restaurants take on the same blueprint that your Bonefish and your Red Lobster did. With the curbside. The meal is already there. Call your meal in. You can actually even Panera Bread. They have an app that even tells you can even pick the time that you want to pick it up, which is incredible.
And I think that was the other thing, being with the technology.
Right.
Most of the restaurants that survived, guess what? They had an email list or they had an app.
That's right.
And the app is how they got in front of you again.
Google Analytics.
In front of somebody if you don't have any information from them.
That's right.
People coming to your restaurant every week. You know their names, but you don't know where they live at. You don't have an email for them. You have no way of contacting them.
That's right.
And that's a lot of people do themselves a disservice because they think, well, it's foot traffic. But how do you get that person again to come back in there?
That's
How do you
right.
let them know, hey, on Tuesdays we're gonna have a steak dinner. On Wednesdays we're gonna have all you can eat shrimp. How do they find out about that?
Yeah, you're right. They
You
were
know,
relying
so-
on that little street, that little board sitting on the street, letting everybody know what the special was.
and
But if you're
nobody's
not right,
coming, then nobody's coming, you know. And so I hope that 2020 made people realize that they needed some way to get back in front of their clientele.
yes, no
You know,
doubt.
by starting even if you get a birthday list where you say, hey, you get a free meal for your birthday, here you go.
That's
You know,
right.
one
Come on
of
back.
my restaurants is called O'Charlie's, and O'Charlie's give you a slice of pie for your birthday. That's how they get your email, and then once they get you a slice of pie, and then you come in on your birthday and get you a slice of pie.
That's right. That's
You
right.
know, you got to have a way to capture your people so they will come back to you.
That's
and if
right.
you had that system set up, then you hopefully you make tons of money, but you survive.
That's right.
Now, if you didn't have that system in place, then you slowly dwindle down unless people were actually coming over to your area. We lost where I work in a business park, and we had like most of the restaurants that were around, they're all closed up. One of my favorites is Sonic. I was really surprised Sonic closed, but
Wow.
they closed because the people in the business park wasn't there.
Yeah.
So they lost their drive up people. You know, nobody was coming down the street to come and get some Sonic.
Yeah.
You know, and so it was really. And the only way you know about Sonic, I think Sonic has an app.
Yep.
And they have, and you can sign up for stuff. So, but I think it just didn't work for that area over there because most of the people who ate at that Sonic worked there, so they wasn't coming back over there to get Sonic.
That's right.
You know, it wasn't in there where they lived at. So if you lived by Sonic, you probably went to that Sonic.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yep.
it was very hard last year for businesses because a lot of them, and then the ones that were online, if they didn't have an email list, they still were having hard times, you know.
Yeah, I think too. A lot of the businesses, you know, if you look at some of the makeup of a lot of your corporations, they being operated and run by old school people. I know, you know, where I was, they still really quite wasn't embracing the smart technology. You know, they were afraid of it. You know, they still wanted to hold on to that BlackBerry, and you know, just like a time like this. You know, when you have a agency or business and your employees are still working on desktop, what's going to happen when we got to fall into shelter and you can't leave your house? It's like what happened. You know, it was just like falling into shelter, but we still was plugged up to the internet, and then you have people who don't even have laptops in their businesses, so that job stayed at their desk. You know, so they couldn't have an alternative workstation, which is what you need this day and time. You know, laptops are very powerful right now, man. People zooming and doing business, you know, on vacation. You know, if you ever, you know how people, you watch some of those YouTube things, you see people coming on and saying, hey, you can work from anywhere. Guy was on his boat with his laptop plugged into the satellite. But people were laughing at that kind of stuff. You know, just say, oh, let me skip that. And guess what? You got some people out here making thousands of dollars an hour doing this type of business, just drop shipping. Don't even never touch the items. You never even see it. And they just making money.
That is so true. I had decided while I was on COVID shut down, I was going to start a T-shirt business that I've been thinking about doing. And guess what? The mail shut down.
Yep.
I was like, oh, I was going to make some masks, and I ordered masks from China. China got shut down for 3 months.
Yeah.
You couldn't get nothing in.
That changed everything,
like,
didn't
my
it?
goodness.
Yeah. You know, and when that happened, that was like between March and I guess June or July when the mail started really slowing down. Even in the U.S., we was having issues.
And I was like, well, I don't want people, you know, because everybody was used to Prime getting their stuff in 2 days. And
Yeah.
the mail was getting it in 6 weeks.
Yeah, it was like, right. It was like, we'll let you know. It was like, but you know,
the mail was not ready either. The mail was not ready.
but you know, Ms. Hoffman, that kind of, I seen that. I'm glad you mentioned that T-shirt industry because I was actually following a gentleman that I had heard on Clubhouse, and I started following his YouTube channel. He really wasn't even doing that many podcasts until this period came where he started finding a lot of T-shirt entrepreneurs in the space, because I know you push T-shirts too. And he was, that was part of his main business, especially on Father's Day. But of course, Father's Day was during COVID, and he lost a lot of money. He couldn't get the T-shirt. But one of the things that I noticed that every time he was podcasting with these individuals, they had to take on more responsibilities that the drop shippers were doing. Remember before with on-demand T-shirts, you were relying on them to print the T-shirt. These people were going out, getting warehouses and storage facilities, and they were hiring some of them started out in their house, and then it started growing because they were able to find local T-shirt distributors, and then they were buying their own machines to print, or they found a printer, and so they were able to. They found themselves making more money. Like someone was making like $300,000 by the end. When they came on this podcast, they had already hit $300,000. They had these doing Black Lives Matter movement. They was that helped a lot of black businesses. And then the school. Remember, the colleges was kind of in limbo, which HBCUs, but they were able to still find a way. Of course, Atlanta was still having parties, so they was going to Atlanta to move their T-shirts to HBCU school. So that was very interesting times for that particular business. I was following them very closely too because I was kind of interested in that myself. It's like, how are they going to find a way to make this work? And they were young people too. They weren't afraid to embrace the technology, but they found out too that you couldn't just rely on just the technology. You still had to do some physical work. You had to have good workers. You couldn't just hire a family member because they was a body and they could fold a T-shirt. You wanted somebody who was dependable.
No, because they would pick up some shirts.
Yeah. Yeah. There was some very interesting stories.
T-shirt business is a good business. Like I said, I was over here making up some T-shirts too. Everybody got T-shirt for prison. But my issue, like I said, was the mail. I sent out a couple of T-shirts and they didn't get it for 4 weeks, and I was like, "Ooh, that's not good business." But now the mail has picked up a lot, so it's a lot of people are using the mail again, so it worked. But a lot of people, their entrepreneur spirit came out during COVID time.
That's right, it sure did.
What can I do while I'm sitting here? I'm not going to my regular job. What can I do for a side hustle? So I was I helped a lot of authors who didn't believe that they could sell some books, because I said everybody and their mom is in their house reading.
That's right. Write a book. Kindle it, right? Kindle it.
Out for the first time. And man, I had people who were selling tons of books for 2020 that had been not selling anything. And it's like, oh my goodness, people are buying 4 and 5 books. I'm like, yeah, they've got nothing else to do.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing. I was buying them, sending my mom, sending to my sister. So I've been buying. I was buying 3 books. And they were home. Yeah.
You were helping the entrepreneurs out.
Yep, Kindle, plus Kindle's available. You're one of those people like to carry, your phone and your tablet with you. Don't have time to really pick up on. And it's funny because it kind of changed my mindset a little bit too when it comes to books, because I was always buying digital books, but then I found my daughter actually gave me a book, paperback book, and that was the first time I had. I've been given books. I have a lot of books from guests that come here for their television show, but I just put them down and just get the Kindle version. But she gave me that book. And I really found myself sitting down reading that book, even though I did listen to it twice, on the Audible. But it's kind of like, after listening to it, kind of reinforced what I'm reading. It's almost like going to school. So you find yourself in a different mindset now, being where we are today too. And speaking of that, what were some of the challenges you had yourself when it came to mobilizing and changing things? What was the biggest challenge for you as an entrepreneur?
Me, I'm a virtual girl, so I didn't have too much of a problem. Everything I do is virtual. Most of the stuff, I was just trying to learn how to branch out to the world when we got shut down. I was doing more works, live things versus virtual. Most of the things that I do were virtual. I did virtual conferences. Like I said, I had a virtual online magazine. And so for me, I was in my element because I was,
you were ready.
Workshops live on things, and was doing. I think I did so many Zooms. Didn't want to see another. I never thought that I'd get tired of doing virtual stuff, but 2020 changed my mind.
Yeah, same here. So how about as far as your How about for as far as time, like balancing, work life with your life? You've been married for 25 years. You have 3 kids. You have a grandchild. You have a dog. And then, of course, changing your eating habits and exercise. How were you able to balance all of the other things along with your entrepreneurship?
Oh man, that's a good question because what is that word balance?
Yeah.
Oh man, COVID really opened my eyes to that I was always on the go. And so, like you said, you read a book. I hadn't read a real book in probably 6 or 7 years. Everything I read was digital.
Yeah.
Or I love listening to audio books.
Yeah, I
so
love it.
listen to Audible. That's how I enjoy books that way. But it's because I had such a busy life and, I ain't got time to sit down and read. And so COVID made me sit down. Like, sit down. Enjoy the couch.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed the couch a lot during COVID time frame. And when we slowly coming out of it, I realized that I needed to make more time for me, make more time for my family, and enjoy life. Because sometimes you get in the moment of working, that you're not enjoying the moment.
That's right.
And having this little grandson really has showed me that I want to enjoy as much moments as I can with him because I know with my own children, they're 3 months and then they're 21.
That's right. They grow fast. They're in college. That's right.
Yeah, and in between goes so fast. So I'm like, I tell my daughter, I need a picture every day because I don't want to miss nothing of him. Because nobody told me that when I had my children that it was going to go so fast and they'd be grown and having their own kids.
That's right.
Before you know it, you close your eyes and then they're grown. And so I'm learning to enjoy the moment versus, I'm gonna do this. You have this huge to-do list and you haven't put anything on there that's for you or your family. And so I try to balance that in now is to make sure that I'm having moments with my family, moments with myself, that is not just about making some money. For my regular job and the side hustle, as you say.
That's right. Now I heard, I'm gonna tell you something that kind of spoke to me. An artist, a Christian artist, independent artist. I know his promoter, and they sent me a music video, and it was called "Sick World." And basically just showed him, him and his family in the living room, and he's about to head out and, catch up with some friends. And mom said, "Where's your mask at?" He said, "I'll pick up one on my way." Right. And I was listening to that word, "sick world." It's almost like the planet Earth was kind of responding to what's going on in this world, with everybody being connected, not everybody quite using the internet the way it was supposed to have been used. It's like it's kind of responding to our habits. And, and then at the same time, you have so many people that's still moving about and they really, really are ill and don't know it. High cholesterol. You got almost 29 million people with diabetes or something like that. It's probably higher than that now. No exercise in their routine. I mean, you look at the gym and you see mostly all young people and it look like they're already in shape. So what you in here for? Instead of the people who's supposed to be in there. And then you find that our health system was being strained, our Social Security system being strained for disability. And then policy is still fighting those who are really disabled, but it just can't afford to take on too many more sick people. So how you feel about that? Because, you think about Western civilization, you think about some of our, our other brothers and sisters who had more of a strict diet or routine, the way they live, like our Caribbean brothers and sisters are more herbal based with their foods and the way they take care of themselves, not as much obesity. Do you feel, just what I just mentioned, do you feel that this world was sick and the earth just was responding with, of course everybody said they think this is a man-made virus, but it could have been something that was already out there, but then something could have just, turned it up. You know what I'm saying? How you feel about that?
I think that a lot of this is because we want everything right now. We want food right now. We used to have it where you you had seasons when food came out. Now you got strawberries all year long.
Yeah.
You know, and we become a greedy society. We want. We don't even know how to sit down and rest. So, you know, so of course we have people that are overweight because they not trying to get out there and enjoy life. They just, everybody's sitting at home watching TV, what is it, Netflixing and
Hulu.
You know, and so this disease opened up a lot of people's eyes to see that they wasn't living their life right. You know, those who got caught up, you know, have really lost their lives because by the time they figured out that they were sick, it was too late.
Yeah.
You know, because we're so running. A lot of people I knew, they were sick. They were still going to work. They didn't even realize they were sick. By the time they realized they were sick, their chest was congested, and before we know it, they're on the respirators because, you know, they didn't know. You know, I lost 4 family members to COVID, and you know, 2 of them were old. Well, 3 of them were older, but you know, it just caught up with them.
Yeah.
You know, and we, you know, we're fine. Oh, I don't need a mask. I'm fine. You know, and it's scary because years ago, we had this with the flu. The flu was like that. You know, but I don't know if the flu started a pandemic, but you know, it took a lot of people out.
Yeah, you're right, because you know people never stop to look at those CDC numbers. If you look at the WHO, I think if you go to their website, it'll tell you how many people died worldwide from the flu virus alone, and diabetes and hypertension. It was way more than car accidents. Heart attacks.
But a lot of people don't want to look at those numbers because then that makes it real. It's the same way with the COVID. Nobody want to look at the numbers of people dying because that makes it so real to them.
Yeah.
You know, if they don't have anybody in their family dying, then it's not real. I had somebody told me it was a conspiracy, and I just looked at him and like, think it's a conspiracy and all these people have died? What was that?
Yeah, just look at those. Yeah, go to CDC and look at those numbers. They'll find that that the numbers for the other diseases are actually higher than what COVID did. You know.
Yeah, the numbers are always high. Like I said, we just don't pay attention to it because we don't. Then that means something is wrong.
Yeah.
You know, we don't want to admit something is wrong. We don't want to admit that we're eating all this stuff and it's making us sick. We don't want to admit that. We don't want to admit that we're eating stuff when we ain't supposed to eat it. Most of the food don't even have seeds in it anymore. What is that about?
I know.
You know, and so we ignore it. We just keep on doing what we got to do, but we ignore all the signs that are out there. Maybe the earth is trying to tell us something, and we're not listening.
I really believe that too, because you know, you look at our history. You know, this happened before. What they said, 100 years ago, we had a Black Plague, and the same thing. People was partying and living, you know, wicked lives, and this is what you get. The earth is going to respond. And because I remember seeing a report that the U.S. Army said there's over 400 strains of SARS, you know, what make this one so different, you know, and it's changing, you know, every week it's a new one out, you know, and it's more transmittable.
If you can't control something, it'll evolve.
Yep.
You know, it evolves to something else.
And I don't think we're doing what they did, you know, years ago against smallpox. I think they shut everything down. I think the people did take to the street a little early when the numbers went down, and then they were right back into the mess again. And I think we got the same report about India. India was looking good, I think, right before September of 2020. Then they went out there and like things were back to normal, and next thing you know, they running out of place to bury people. So
well, we as a society we always want it to go back to normal. You know, it has to go back to normal, or something is wrong. And the thing about it is, we were the only country that didn't shut completely down like all the other countries did.
Yeah.
They all shut down for the 2 weeks. Shut down.
Yeah, and Canada still shut down.
We can't shut down. We can't shut down. I think we had different states that said, "Oh, we don't have to shut down."
Yeah.
So it's not. You can't shut anything out if everybody's still doing the same thing.
It's right. It's not going to go away. It's going to be like the flu. I was telling my neighbor, the bishop. I said, Bishop, this thing going to be like the flu, man, because everybody's not doing the same thing. So if you have all 50 states, it's 50 states, right? And 49 states shut down and one don't. But they let people cross the border. Let them out. What do you think is going to happen? We could be right back to where we are today. Because it was the same thing, when they said the ships. Remember the ships? I think Canada,
They wouldn't let the ships in.
they wouldn't let them in. I think they quarantined the people in the ships and then they quarantined them on some military base. And they shut their borders down. I think their borders are still shut down to this day. They're not letting anybody
There's
in.
a lot of places that you can't go to. You have to quarantine for a week before you get there, and then you got to quarantine when you come back.
Yeah,
So,
because they're real strict in the
real
Caribbean islands. I know my family traveled over to the Dominican Republic, and I know they were pretty strict. I read some woman that landed. She tested positive. She had to stay in a little room the whole time. I was like, wow. I said,
And the thing about it is, you don't even know you have it until you go get tested, and then you're like, oh.
Yep.
We were supposed to go on a cruise in 2020, and they canceled it because, still COVID, so we didn't go.
Well, the ships are undocked now in Florida. You can get a trip if you can get to Florida, you can get a ship out for $50 to $100.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, because nobody's going on them. You're supposed to go, because if you go on and somebody gets sick, you quarantine.
Yeah, they're going to keep you on that ship, and then you got all these storms coming through. I don't even think I want to be on a ship this time of the year. There's so many storms coming up. They just pop up. Yeah. So,
this is the storm season, so.
It is.
Yeah.
So, Ms. Hoffman,
November.
So one of the things that we mentioned in the talking points was small businesses trying to survive, and for those who didn't, is because they weren't prepared, and sometimes you have to have a ready plan. And I remember reading that Will Smith has said something about, he said he never had a B plan, because if you have a B plan, that means you don't have no confidence in your A plan. But for those of us who had a B plan, I think you're doing pretty good right now. You probably got a decent car. You probably was able to at least drive for one of these ride sharing. Because I know I've heard some people been doing Instacart, making $300-400 a day, doing ride sharing and just using their vehicle. So if you weren't one of those people that had a new vehicle that can handle the mileage, you probably was stuck. And you probably was one of those people that was waiting for the state to help them out. And I think they're about to stop all of that now in the end of September for some of the people who were waiting on benefits. And even for those who are dealing with the situation with convictions with the landlords, that all that stuff is up for debate. But we're in a worse situation we are now than we were yesterday. So for all you small businesses out there, you still got time to be creative in your space. And Ms. Hoffman laid it all down. So, Ms. Hoffman, we got a few minutes. Tell everybody where they can find you if they want to do business with you, want to see your virtual master classes. Let them know how they can find you. Amen.
Well, you can find me at LaShaundaHoffman.com. And I have a bit.ly link that you can check out, bit.ly/LCH21. That has all my links in it. How to get in touch with me, my classes I offer, and things like that. I am on social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and what's my favorite new place, the Clubhouse.
That's right.
And what's the other one? TikTok. I'm loving me some TikTok too. So you can find me on there. It's LaShaunda Hoffman. I'm all over.
Amen. Now you got a pretty long first name and a pretty long last name. I guess you make it a little easy for people if they hit up your bit.ly channel. And that's LCH21 bit.ly. All right. So So real quick.
LaShaunda Hoffman is too long.
Yeah.
That's another 10 minutes.
That's right. Now we got a few minutes left. So tell people a little bit about the benefits of Clubhouse. I know I love Clubhouse too. I try not to get in there all the time because it can consume a lot of your time. You gotta pick your poison.
It can. I do a daily room called Take a Break at the Purple Table. And it's basically just coming in. We just have different conversations. We talk about book promotion. We talk about writing. Today we talked about taking a mammogram. So you never know what you're going to get at the purple table is what I say.
Yeah.
I have been on Clubhouse since November. So November will be my 1-year anniversary.
Wow.
And I got on because at that time we were stuck in the house. So I was like, how can I meet new people? You know, and I tell my clients all the time, you always try different platforms because that's how you meet new people. If you can't get out of your house, how are you meeting new people?
That's right.
And so I went over to Clubhouse because that was my project, is to see if I can meet new people.
That's right, networking.
I didn't even think there was a writing or literary community on there, and I found the literary community. I found the business community. I talk about grief. I found a grief community.
Mm-hmm.
And then I found a movie community because I love movies. So I always tell people to go on there, write down 10 things that you're interested in, and then go on Clubhouse and do a search and see if there's anybody that's in those interests.
That's right.
And most times you're going to find a room that's talking about that.
That's right. Even if it's just small group. So how you feel about the larger?
Or you started yourself.
Yeah, tell me the pros and cons. You know, with a larger group and a smaller group. You know, what are you getting out of both of those, and what you're not?
So, Clubhouses, they have rooms that's almost like a little like groups on Facebook if you're on Facebook, but it's just for probably how long you keep it open. None of the stuff is recorded, so that's the bad part about Clubhouse. But that's also the good part because you got to be in the room. If you're not in the room, you missed it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I would recommend is once you get on the platform is to find the rooms that interest you. And then you go in them. You can be down at the bottom, which is called the audience, or you can be on stage, which is where most of the experts hang out. So if they bring you up stage, you can ask questions. You can share your expertise. What I always say is if you go into a room, fill the room out, see how it is, listen, you know, stay in the audience for a little bit. And then if you have a question, then go up to the top of the
raise your hand.
and ask your question.
That's right. I like it's a very nice app. Very user friendly.
It's very user friendly. It has some craziness in there sometimes, like any other app. Everybody you're always gonna bring the crazy people with you. But I have used it as a way to build my podcast. I've gotten wonderful guests for my podcast from there. I have been invited to workshops, conferences, and I'm doing, matter of fact, 2 summits because of the Clubhouse. I have gotten new clients because of the Clubhouse. I have made some amazing friendships because of the Clubhouse.
Mm-hmm.
I have reconnected with people that used to be on Yahoo.
Yeah, Yahoo groups. Yeah.
They came over to Clubhouse. So
I missed that.
I have really had a great time on the app. It can suck up a lot of time, but because I love podcasts, I use it like a radio.
Yes,
like in the background. What I do is I pick 3 or 4 rooms that I want to listen to for the day, and then I use it as a background thing. Sometimes I might come to the stage and talk, but most of the time I'm just in the audience learning from the people that are in there, because there are so many wonderful people on there that are sharing their wealth of information.
Yes.
And, you can learn some different things. I started a Shopify shop, SORMAG Boutique. It's a shop for readers and writers gifts. And I had not a clue. So I went in there and I was like, is there any Shopify gurus on here, expertise? And I found like 4 or 5 of them. And so I started following them. And when they had a room, I would go in the room. I didn't know what questions to ask. So I would sit in the audience and listen to the people who did know what questions to ask. Then when I was ready to ask my questions, I'd go up to the top and they answer my questions for me. And so they helped a lot with me trying to, launch this Shopify shop with a person who has never used a Shopify.
That's right.
What apps do I need? What do I need to do? And they were real helpful. This is what you need. This is what you need to do. You need to promote. I know I'm promoting, but they're like, you need to promote every day.
Yep. Exactly.
So It's been really helpful for me. I use it as, to me, it's like a live Google.
That's right. It kind of reminds you a lot of YouTube, but instead of you sitting there watching a video, that person is actually in that club room. And one of the things that I like about it too, that you get wealth of information from some of the best-selling authors in those apps, and a lot of those rooms are some of your larger rooms. I remember being there one time, and the guy who was the founder of Netflix was in there. The guy who started T-Mobile, and Bill Gates was in there one time. And I'm always in there with the guy Grant Cardone. He's a guy who started out in the car business. Now he's a commercial real estate tycoon. And some of these people are big major music producers that had big hits. I actually was in there one night when T-Bars was in there. You know, she suffered from sickle cell anemia, and she was talking about how she was in. I heard a lot about CMOS, but she was talking about the benefits of CMOS, and somebody recommended it. So that's how I found my supplier, was from her. And Tiffany Hash.
CMOS is hard to get.
Yeah, Tiffany Hash was in there, and she was talking about some of the pitfalls being African American in the film industry. Everybody look at her, think she's the multimillionaire, this person and that, but she sometimes has to go out and buy her own clothes for her wardrobe. It's like you just don't know what people are dealing with until you get a chance to hear from the horse's mouth. And the filmmakers in there, and photographers and models,
It's
and
amazing.
everybody,
I was in a
actors,
room
you name
with
it.
Ava DeVino.
Yeah. I was on a Zoom with
Oh
her.
man, they were just doing a tribute room to her, talking about her movies and stuff, and she popped in, and they lost it. When she popped in and talked to us for about an hour, she was amazing. Talking about following your dreams, because she used to be a publicist, and she became a director, and people told her not to do it. Like, you already got a good job. Why are you trying to do something else? And I was like, wow, even people just try to crush your dreams because they don't see the vision. But she saw the vision and moved forward, and it was a really great room. Some of my favorite rooms have been in there. I'm a big fan of the 5 Heartbeats, and they had an anniversary room in there, and I was like in heaven. Many great. I have had so many great rooms in there. The clubhouse has, people have stuff to say about it. Oh, it's time consuming. And it is.
It is. Yeah, because it could give some,
you have to have a strategy when you go on any platform.
Yeah, you
Why
gotta
are
have
you on
strategy.
this platform?
That's right.
For me, it was about meeting new people.
That's
And
right.
I've met new people, You go on there just to be going, I'm going to make 6 figures. I'm going to get all my... you might not meet anybody who wants to buy nothing from you.
That's right. Sometimes it's just informational, That's right, informational. And one thing I like about it too is, like you said about the larger rooms and the smaller rooms. Sometimes you go in a smaller room and just be 4 or 5 people, and you get a chance to meet, people from all over the world. I met some people from India who lives in the U.S., and they are podcasters. And we sometimes I jump in there like every other week because it's like almost 2 hours sometimes. And then the larger rooms, you're getting advice from these people who have made mistakes over and over again, and they tell them just hang in there. And some of the people went in another direction thinking they were going to get rich this way, but then accidentally it came from another direction. So you get a chance to hear those stories.
The way you think it's going to be.
Yeah, I mean Les Brown, he's always in there, and he's bringing his team, and his son is in there, and it's incredible. Some of these people, these successful people, and then you go on their Instagram page and see how great they are when it comes to branding. I mean, I remember a guy was in there who started his own water company, and the way he packaged that thing is incredible. He made so much money. Now this guy owned horse ranches in North Carolina, and it's just incredible. These people, and they're so intelligent. So I say, for someone who never tried it out, and you've been. Try it and see. It's better than podcasting in some cases, because these are people who are not your guests; they're someone else's guests. All right. Well, look, Ms. Hoffman.
I love it for that.
Yeah.
I always say don't sleep on the small room.
That's right.
Sometimes
Don't sleep on it.
Is how you make the connections, because you go in there. I've been in a room one time, and it was just me and the person. I was like, go ahead and say what you got. Do your workshop, and I've learned a bunch of stuff. I can ask the questions, and I have to compete with everybody else trying to ask
That's
questions.
right.
So don't sleep on the small rooms.
And also, too, it kind of help you get over some things. Like a lot of people are afraid to talk about money and credit. And some of the time, these people were, there's a guy on there. He actually bought himself a brand new I guess it was a G30, whatever the new planes are today. And he said this is like his second one, or I think third one. And his family works for him. He owned gas stations. People say, how you make your money? Started by buying barbershops and beauty salons. Like, wow. So you never know. Someone is going to scratch the surface of something you was thinking about, and now it motivates you to go out there and try it. But look, Ms. Hoffman, we got to get out of here. Our time is up because our show actually runs on other streams. So, but I appreciate you so much for being here. And one more time, give everybody your Bentley list link so they can check you out.
It's Bentley link, bit.ly/LCH21. Bentley LCH21. You'll get all my links on that. And I want to say thank you so much, Mr. Jerry, for inviting me to speak with you today. I appreciate it. It was fun.
Yeah. Great, chopping up. So you didn't have to worry about competing with other people on the stage. It was your stage tonight.
Well, I appreciate that. I like to share sometimes.
That's right. All right. And she is the book promoter. All right, everybody. Again, thank you so much. And we got to have you back. We love to have our guests that do so well on our podcast to come join us on our television program so we can share you with our cable viewers, because sometimes our cable viewers, they're asleep right now. They're not up during this time when late night is running on the stream. So we'd like to invite you to come join us in our morning cable television talk. Okay, how that sound?
That sounds good. I'm ready.
All right. Look for that invite. We'll be back in the studio in October, everybody. Well, remotely. we took September off, so we have to give my lady TV host some time off. All right, so they can miss it a little bit. That's right. Gotta get your rest. All right. Well, we're going to say goodnight to you and our listeners. Again, everybody, Kelly will be back next week. She was away. She was in Jamaica, so Batman had to hold it down. And I guess I did a great job. I'm so used to controlling Skeet all the time. And also, y'all, speaking of Skeet, don't forget, Skeet comes on every day of the week. Just go to my Facebook page, Jerry Royce Live, to find out where Skeet is airing. And, of course, almost everywhere it's streaming except for in North Carolina. You have to be in North Carolina to see a show. But it's pretty much the same show. But please share it with a child. We have a lot of kids that are not doing well during this time. Skeet is a comfort character. He will bring a smile to their face. And believe me, people tell me all the time why Skeet is not on every day. And I say he is on every day, just not on social media every day. All right, everybody. Y'all have a great evening. And we see you soon. Don't forget to share the file. Make somebody smile. I'm Jerry Royce Live worldwide on Positive Power, XXI Christian Media.
You are listening to Jerry Royce Live Worldwide Podcast.
Can you feel the power? Can you feel the power? Feel the power of double S.
Positive Power 21.org. Internet radio.
You are listening to Jerry Royce Live Worldwide Podcast.
Hey, my name is Davis and I'm from Haiti, but I live in Dominican Republic. I'm here, Positive Power 21, Jerry Royce Live Worldwide.
Hello, beautiful people. My name is Popular the Generous, gospel artist from Lagos, Nigeria, Africa, and you're listening to the Jerry Royce Live Worldwide Podcast. I got my new single playing on there, Hadura. You don't want to miss it. One love, one God, one people, and one faith. Hallelujah day. That's how we roll. That's how the team go.
We are one in Christ. We are one in Christ. Hello, everyone.